All right, folks, we're going to do the second column of examples for example 2 underneath functional notation. So we've established that we have three functions up here called f, g, and h. And let's get after it. So the next example wants us to find f of 5x plus 2. Now we have to remember that in this context, that is not multiplying f into the parentheses. The f simply identifies the function they want us to use. This is not to be thought of as multiplication, even though it looks like it. In this context, the f is just an identifier. So we put that expression in for x, that whole thing. Whatever's in the parentheses, whatever's under my hand, goes in for x. So that'll be 4 times quantity minus 3. All right? Now, I've been thinking about this a lot. I think on questions like this, I will not require you to simplify them. I just want you to demonstrate that you understand how this would work. So that will suffice as an answer. I will tell you, under different circumstances, let's just say, I would require simplification in terms of going forward and distributing the 4 into the parentheses and combining like terms and things of that nature. So, you don't have to do this. I would have you do that if we were under different circumstances, all right? So just show me that you understood how to set the thing up. I would assume the simplification is not a big deal, okay? So, good enough. I'm cutting some corners here, folks. I'll just be the first to tell you. All right, g of x plus h. All right, so that's the next one. We're done with this one. Pause, write it down, do whatever. Good enough. Okay, g of x plus h, simply again, is to go, gee, that's this one in the middle. And they want us to take the expression x plus h and put it in for x. So wouldn't that be 2 times x plus h squared minus 5 times x plus h? Replace x with x plus h everywhere there's an x, and then remember the minus 3. We could clean this up, we could simplify it, we'd FOIL and distribute and combine like terms and things of that nature. But again, I'll just grin and bear it. Show me you understand how to set the thing up. I would assume the simplification that would follow would not be a big deal. So you don't have to simplify these on homework. It might say that it wants you to, but you don't have to. All right, do so at your own risk. All right, so there's that. F of g of x. All right, now, f of g of x. This is an example of what we call, in the notes, function composition. This is where we're taking one function and putting it into the other. We're taking that function and putting it into that one. To me, the logic is very much in keeping with the order of operations. When you have more than one math operation, or in this case, more than one function, doesn't the order of operations say to do the one in parentheses first, right? So that g of x, and this is easy to overthink, but you go, okay, I'll get to the outside one later, but g of x is simply that expression right there. That's g of x, right? So, and we did it first because it was in the parentheses. All right, now when we get to this step, we hopefully say, well, this is like the ones we were doing just a few minutes ago. We're going to go over here to the f, and we're going to replace that x there with that thing in the parentheses, right? This whole thing is going to go in wherever there's an x in that function over there. So we would go, well, that will equal 4, replace the x with what's in the parentheses, minus 3. All right? So instead of 4x minus 3, it became 4 expression minus 3. You know, cleaning that up would not be that difficult, but again, in the interest of time, keeping things moving, I would assume the cleanup would not be a big deal to you. So, I'll take it. It's hard for me to say that, but I'm going to. All right. That's f of g. Pause, do whatever you want. g of f, that's the last one here. Okay, look, this is just testing whether you can read it and understand the order in which you do things. So again, to me, speaking of order, the big thing here would be that we do the one in the parentheses first. That's the order of operations, isn't it? So, g, we'll get to it later. F of x is the expression 4x minus 3. So again, we're doing that one in the parentheses first because the order of operations says you do what's in parentheses. So I hope that that makes sense to you. Again, I'm shaking the markers because I noticed it helps them to write darker. All right, now doesn't this say go to g, and here's g, and replace x with expression, right? Whatever's in the parentheses goes in for x. So I'm looking at it like 2 times that expression squared minus 5 times that expression, and then minus 3. You could clean it up, you distribute and FOIL if you speak English and all that kind of stuff. But there again, that's acceptable to me. That would be the end of example 2. And when we come back, we'll start talking about a concept called domain. Awesome.